Ever get that itch to start a totally new adventure? Learn a skill that opens up a whole new way of seeing the world? Well, today, we're gonna do just that. We're diving into the very first steps of learning Japanese by looking at the roadmap millions of people use to get started. Let's do this.
Okay, so this is it. This is the Genki workbook, and I want you to think of this less like some stuffy old textbook and more like a really well-planned guide for an adventure. It's built from the ground up to take you from knowing absolutely nothing to having real, actual conversations.
So, where does any journey begin? Well, before you can speak, before you can understand, you've got to learn to read the signs, right? And in Japanese, that means cracking the code of its writing system. Your first challenge is to master something called hiragana.
Hiragana is the absolute bedrock. Seriously, everything is built on this. It's basically a phonetic alphabet where every single character stands for a specific sound. Once you know these, you can sound out any Japanese word. It's the key that unlocks the whole language.
And check this out. This is how Genki makes that huge first step so manageable. On the left, you've got the new hiragana characters, and right next to them on the right, the sounds you already know. Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. See? It builds a bridge from what's strange to what's familiar. It turns this intimidating chart into a simple matching game. It's brilliant. But here's the thing. Once you have a handle on the sounds, Genki doesn't mess around. The whole point isn't just to read symbols on a page, it's to speak. So the book immediately gets you turning those new characters into actual, meaningful sentences you can say out loud. And this is your first real tool. It's the first grammar rule you learn, and it's just a simple formula. X wa desu. That's it. It's basically a plug-and-play structure that means X is Y. This little formula is your key to building your very first sentences. And you don't just memorize the rule, you use it instantly. The book gives you this little profile for a guy named Takshi. He's 22, he's a student, he's Japanese. Your job is to take that formula you just learned and use it to describe him. It is learning by doing, right from the get-go. And just like that, you do it. You form a complete, grammatically correct sentence. Takeshi-san wa Nihonjin desu. Takeshi is Japanese. In just a few pages, you've gone from not even knowing the alphabet to making a real statement. This is that first wow moment, that feeling of, hey, I can actually do this.
Of course, learning something once isn't enough to make it stick, right? So the real core of this method is reinforcement. It has you practice everything you're learning in a bunch of different ways to make sure that knowledge gets locked in tight. You'll start with practical stuff, like these exercises on common greetings. You see a situation, and you have to write down the right phrase. It's all about putting the language into a real-world context. Then it moves on to other skills, like numbers. But notice, you're not just reading them. The exercise actually has you listen to an audio track and then write the numbers down. So you're engaging your ears and your hands, which helps cement it in your brain so much better.
And this is the cool part. Before you're even out of the first chapter, all these little pieces, greetings, numbers, that X is Y sentence, they all start coming together so you can learn a genuinely useful skill, like asking for and telling the time. It just shows you how fast you can start building something practical.
So that was a little taste of Lesson 1, just the first few miles of the hike. But what about the rest of the journey? Where does this path actually lead? Well, the workbook makes the entire road ahead super, super clear. And here it is. This is the map for the entire book. The table of contents lays out lesson by lesson exactly what you're going to learn. There are no mysteries, just a clear step-by-step path forward. Let's take a quick look at what that path looks like. You can see the progression so clearly here. You start with those super basic sentences in Lesson 1. A couple lessons later, boom, you're conjugating verbs. By Lesson 6, you're describing what you do. Lesson 9, you're talking about the past. And by the end, Lesson 12, you're putting all of it together to say much more complex things. What's so important here is that nothing comes out of the blue. Every single lesson is like a brick that you lay on top of the one you just finished. The whole system is designed to build up your skills and your confidence gradually, so you never feel like you're just being tossed in the deep end. So we've just looked at the map for the first few miles of a very long and really rewarding road. You've seen the starting point. You can see the path laid out ahead of you. The only question left is, are you ready to take that first step?